A very good evening to you and welcome to this special election broadcast coming to you live from the IEC's National Results Operations Centre in Pretoria. I'm Ayanda Ali Payne with you for the next 30 minutes, and in only 13 hours time, millions of South Africans will begin casting their votes in this year's very important general election. In tonight's show, we'll be crossing live to our reporters in the field, and they're covering some of the expected hotspots throughout this election. We'll go to them right after this. Let me just remind you how you can get involved in tonight's show. Remember, we do love hearing from you. Do send us your emails to elections@sabc.co.za, or you can send us an SMS if you prefer. That number 33726. I'll repeat that, 33726. Please do begin your message with the word vote. SMSs cost R1.50. For tweets, use the hashtag SABC elections and find us on Facebook as well, SABC News Online. All right, many ways that you can get in touch with us, and you can comment on the next stories you're about to see. So let's get straight to it. We begin with a roundup of some of the election-related news from across the country. Former President Thabo Mbeki has called on all South Africans to exercise their democratic right to vote. Mbeki, who is on his way to the World Economic Forum in Nigeria, this morning cast his special ballot at his home in Johannesburg. Take a look.
Barely 48 hours after arriving from Cape Verde, the former president will be on his way to Nigeria. The IEC Commissioner, Bongani Finga, was amongst the IEC officials who were on hand to assist Mbeki. After the formalities, it was time to vote.
This is all we were engaged in struggle in order to be able to determine our future. And it's an important intervention in terms of that future is to decide whom we want to govern us.
At Mthatha, the police are investigating a case of irregular voting at a voting station in the Eastern Cape Town. It's alleged that unregistered voters were allowed to vote at the Waterfall Park voting station in Ngangalizwe. The IEC is trying to establish how many irregular votes were cast. The station was operating normally today.
And let's now cross live to Tammy Dixon, who is standing by at the IEC headquarters in the Eastern Cape, in East London to be exact. Tammy, a very good evening to you. What can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much, Ayanda, and good evening and welcome to this IEC Centre here in East London. This is the nerve centre of the election results that is going to come throughout our province over the couple of days of voting in South Africa. The election officials, as you can see them behind me, they've been very busy over the last 2 days with special voting, putting last touches on the preparations for voting tomorrow. As we heard in the insert there have been some incidents in few isolated areas with regards to special voting today, and one of that incident happened in Mthatha, where apparently some people who were not registered or people who have not applied to cast the special votes today happened to be in a voting station and voting, which is completely irregular, but the IEC is actually looking at that. One of the hottest areas that the IEC remains very worried about here in the Eastern Cape is an area of stack spread. Now, that area remains very volatile, Alayanda, and there's a great concern here in the Eastern Cape, particularly with the IEC, in terms of how that volatility could actually affect the fairness and the freeness of the elections. We've had incidents there of intimidation, political violence that have happened, banning of institutions such as schools. There's been an attempt to ban a school that has been earmarked as a voting station. But to get more on this, we are now crossing to our reporter Zimkita Maqingwana, who is actually stationed there at Stack Spread to give us the latest in terms of how the mood is there. Zimkita, what can you tell us this evening in terms of what's happening in Stack Spread?
Well, today, Tammy, it was very quiet around Stack Spread. It wasn't like there were special votes taking place around this area. We only saw a few people making their way to the registration, to the polling stations today, and we saw the IEC officials being escorted to the police station to put the ballot papers there to stay overnight. But what I can tell you is that security has been increased in this area of Stack Spread. Yesterday, yesterday we saw about 500 police officers deployed to this area to add to the number of existing police officers in this area. We saw about 100 Defence Force members being deployed here, but today those numbers were increased to ensure that nothing of any criminality will take place in this area. We also saw disaster management teams like fire extinguishers being deployed here to be ready for any eventuality that might take place tomorrow.
Right. That's our reporter there, Zimkita Makingwane, who's giving us an update of what's happening there in the very volatile area of Sterkspruit. Now, to look at this issue much deeper, I'm joined now here, this by the political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University at the Nelson Mandela Metro, Jolene Steyn-Kotze, who's going to help us to understand, Jolene, the impact that this volatility there in Sterkspruit could actually have on the freeness and the fairness of elections there.
Look, I mean, essentially, you know, if you have a situation where it continues to escalate, inevitably it could mean that an election could not take place. It could mean that people who by right would want to go and cast their vote would not be in a position to do so.
Right. Now, when you look at the voting trends here in the Eastern Cape, I mean, there are 18 political parties that will be contesting for elections here in the Eastern Cape tomorrow. What does that mean about the political landscape in the province? Has it changed dramatically?
There's always been a whole lot of political parties within the Eastern Cape, but we do have what we call your stronger political parties. So, you know, here we are thinking of the ANC, DA, UDM. We had the Cope dynamic in 2009. Very interesting, in 2009, the ANC dropped support between 3 to 10% in various municipalities. A portion of that went to the Congress of the People.
Right.
So it will be interesting to see whether, with the decline of the Congress of the People, where that vote will go to as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Jolene. There, these are some of the issues that we'll be dealing with here over the next few days, but we'll keep you informed about the latest developments. Let's take it back now to Pretoria. Ayanda.
Tammy Dixon, to you and your guest, as well as Zimkita Makingwane, coming to us from the Eastern Cape. Our thanks very much to you, and we'll continue to keep a close watch on what's happening in that particular province. And just to remind you, the SABC News team is literally stationed all over South Africa, so we'll soon have news for you from your neck of the woods. But first, let me thank you for your emails, your tweets, and your Facebook messages that have been coming in fast and furious. I wonder if we have a moment or two to take a look at some of them. Yes, we do. Let's just quickly bring you up to speed with what South Africa has to say on the eve of this great election that we're looking at, the national election on the 7th of May. All right, let's take a look at this first tweet coming to us from, I think it's Gothy, if I pronounce that properly. IEC is at IEC. That's the tweet, the hashtag there, or the handle. We are ready to vote, this particular comment says. I hope so. 10 million South Africans who are eligible to vote had not registered, and that's a huge disappointment. But for the 25 million who have registered, I sure do believe and hope that you are ready to vote. Let's take a look at what Babalwa has to say. Babalwa saying that we were on TV today because we're born frees. Really excited about voting tomorrow. Yes, the born frees are able to vote for the very first time this year. Those are children who were born in 1994. The last one coming to us from Sonia. Sonia saying, why has IEC been silent on compromised ballots in Ward 77? I do believe that was in Nigel, if I'm not mistaken, here in Gauteng, in the East Rand, if my memory serves me correct. I do believe that the people who were in charge of that particular ward have been sent home and have been redeployed, or in fact been dealt with. We will get all those answers for you, in fact, because we will be speaking to IEC officials in just a moment, but do stay with us. More after the break.
With the biggest payouts in the country, one ball can change it all.
The condition of teeth sensitivity can be permanent. However, the pain does just come and go. There are solutions. It is about changing toothpaste. I recommend Sensodyne toothpaste. It helps reduce sensitivity, helps with cavity protection. It does freshen your breath and helps maintain gum health. If you use Sensodyne twice a day, not only does it provide you with a relief from sensitivity, it also provides you with the basic needs from a general toothpaste.
We are products of the past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it, so we move. Though the past is never where you think you left it, it is known to be tense, the future being a mystery, giving way for history to repeat itself. Go back, not good at all. Go sideways, impossible. Go forward, only thing to do. On we go. Will we find peace? Swart Water, Tuesday at 7:30 on 2.
In the big city of New York, a group of heroes rendezvous for a special meeting. Not quite what you were expecting, huh?
Delegates, you have been summoned from all corners of the globe because we have reason to believe that someone is in distress.
But when someone needs their help...
She could be in real trouble. You gotta find her and help her.
Two little mice? What can you do?
My rudder's on fire!
They are only mice in stature. For they have hearts of lions. Don't miss Disney at its best.
I've got to have the devil's eye.
The Rescuers, Saturday at 4 on SABC 2.
Welcome back. Thanks again for joining us. Now to discuss the IEC's readiness for tomorrow's elections is the Chief Electoral Officer, Mosotho Moepya. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, and it's good to be with you.
Before I forget, just before the break, we read some of the tweets. One of the tweets coming from Sonia asking about Ward 77. And I remember I read something about that this morning in the news, but the hustle and bustle of today just completely took the recollection of what had happened in that particular ward away. Please do clarify what happened in Ward 77.
In Ward 77, we had two special votes which were undertaken yesterday, unfortunately being taken for storage at a house which was owned by one of the party agents. This was a departure from normal protocol. Materials are never stored at the houses of party agents, and for that reason, once this matter was brought to our attention, we one, reported the matter to the police. Two, we removed the persons that were involved in dealing with the matter, and they will not have any further part in this election.
Do you think it was a matter of negligence or ignorance or malicious intent?
I would not want to comment on that because the police are dealing with the matter. We take it very seriously, of course. We would not want to allow this matter to affect the credibility of this election in any way. We accept that there were only 2 ballots involved, but it could have been 1,000 ballots. And so we are treating this matter very seriously.
Are you at liberty to divulge whether or not it was IEC officials or party officials involved?
Of course, there was a presiding officer of ours that was involved. That's why we dealt with the matter swiftly, as we have dealt with it.
All right, we'll have to leave that there for lack of time. I think let's move on to other cases. Special votes taking place yesterday and today. All in all, how do you think those fared?
Much better day today than we had yesterday. Of course, yesterday in some parts of the country, lots of challenges, lots of winds for temporary voting stations. But today, you know, we had to finish off the special votes, and we had enough time to, you know, to look at where we have not done well yesterday, and to, you know, to recoup and see how best we deal with those situations. I'm very pleased with progress all over, you know, the country, except in a few parts of the nation, eThekwini for one, and you know, the Cape Town Metro, where as we speak there might still be some special votes being undertaken there. But all in all, a very good process for us. This it's you know, it's preparation for tomorrow, obviously for many of our officials, and we should be A for our way tomorrow.
Are you concerned at all about what's happening in the Eastern Cape? We just had my colleague Tammy Dixon talk to us about what's been happening there in Stacksbraid, in Umtata. We understand in Umtata special votes were undertaken by people who had not registered for such. How did that manage to fall through the cracks, do you think?
Well, two things. In this election, you are not allowed to come and cast a special vote unless you have applied for it. Of course, it has been brought to our attention, as you quite rightly say, that there may have been, isolated instances where special votes were undertaken. We will deal with those situations because they're outside of the law, obviously. But we have voters that stand to be prejudiced and officials who, of course, are spoiling this, and we will have to deal with that matter also without fear or favor.
And the situation in Sterkspruit, is that under control?
The situation in Sterkspruit is pleasing to us. It has been under control, and we are quite pleased with it. We want to thank the citizens of the community, and we invite them to come tomorrow and cast their votes under normal circumstances, as all of us will do.
Now, this is a viewer-oriented show, so we always want to hear from what ordinary South Africans have to say. I wonder whether or not we can have a moment or two and take a look at one of the questions that came to us via Twitter. I'm going to turn around so I can also read it. This is from Alex, and Alex says, I've registered in Guyana and now I am in Phalaborwa. Is it possible for me to vote around Phalaborwa?
I ideally would want everyone to register, to vote where they've registered. But that, that viewer would be able to vote in Phalaborwa where they are.
Okay, but say for instance, I have to travel on business. I've registered in Gauteng. I find myself in Cape Town. Am I able to vote? Will I be able to vote just nationally and not for the provincial elections, or how does that work?
You're quite right. You'll be able to vote for the National Assembly, but you will not be able to vote for any provincial legislature in that circumstance.
And having said that, are we ready for tomorrow?
Absolutely. Everything that we needed to do has been done. We have staff out there, we have materials out there. We are inviting 25 million South African citizens to come and test our systems. Of course, we'll be waiting. This is a celebratory election, and we have done everything we needed to do to make it work as it should. This election should do South Africans proud.
Oh, thank you so much. We certainly do look forward to it. My thanks again to you. A very, very busy man this hour, I can tell you. Living on coffee, as is the case with many of the journalists who are dealing with this particular story. And we'll have to say thanks to you as well for all your comments. Sonia and Alex, I hope you are answered. Let's take a quick ad break. We're back with more in just a moment.
And where's she gonna get the money for that? Look! Empty. If only she'd call our insurance. Everyone knows they'll beat your car insurance premium or give you $400. Like, hello? No. Time to pay.
SMS out to 44188, and if we can't beat your car insurance premium, we'll pay you 400 Rand.
Why just whiten? Illuminate. New Aquafresh High Definition White starts to work from the very first brush. The millions of Illumipearls lift stains and polish for up to 3 times better whitening. And a beautiful illuminated smile. New Aquafresh High Definition White. Aquafresh, feel good protection.
We are products of the past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it. So we move. Though the past is never where you think you left it, it is known to be tense, the future being a mystery, giving way for history to repeat itself. Go back, not good at all. Go sideways, impossible. Go forward, only thing to do. On we go. Will we find peace? Swart Water, Tuesday at 7:30 on 2.
Welcome back, and if you've just tuned in, you're watching a special election broadcast coming to you live from the IEC's National Results Operations Centre in Pretoria. Joining me now is SABC spokesperson Kaiser Kganyago. A very good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Ayanda, and good evening to your viewers at home.
This is a mammoth production, and people want to know exactly when and where and how they can get information as to what's happening with regards to this particular election. Tell us about the various platforms that people can access to get information.
Obviously, as the SABC, we are doing pre-election broadcasts. We've started with Morning Live, I think, from yesterday, and now we're doing all of those things. But as from tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, we'll be having a 24-hour news channel broadcasting for 24 hours from here and up until the 9th, continuously, non-stop. And then we'll have SABC2 as a dedicated channel where most of the programs will come in, because the other one is on the pay television, and this one will be catering for the others. And as far as radio is concerned, we have got all radio stations broadcasting from here. Therefore, there will be crossings throughout the country about all the issues that will be happening, so that everybody all over the country understands what's going on with the elections for the whole of tomorrow. And then in as far as the online, we also, because we are saying we are technologically astute, we want to make sure that the people can follow each and every incident that happens online. And we've got elections at sabc.co.za. I think they can go there and see the results when they come, and so on and so on. And that for us is a very important part of our election broadcast this year.
I think it's very important that those who can't access DSTV will not be put at a disadvantage. It will be also available on free-to-air TV. But talk to us about the results. Everybody wants to know when you can get the results. How are we scheduling everything to pre-election, during election, afterwards? When and which days can people tune in for the results and everything else in between?
We have got one of what we call an election data system, which is linked to the IEC. When the polling stations close tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock, the first results will be coming over. Because we are linked, immediately that information will come to our election data system, and we are going to then analyze it and start giving it out on the point, as and when it happens. From that time up until the 5th, when the final elections on Saturday, 5 o'clock, when the final elections are going to be announced, we'll be showing on-the-point results, analysis, race analysis, area analysis. All of these things will be shown, because this system is so advanced that we are able to know your province, to follow the developments as and when they happen in any province that you are in, be able to analyze them for you. But that information will also be ready for people like you. Will then download it onto your computer. You'll be able to, on the point, go into that website and be able to say, now as I speak, KwaZulu-Natal, this party is this percentage, and so on and so on. And for us, we are very proud. People must go to the website and see that. And that means you are able to follow it everywhere, because it will be on mobile. Therefore, when you are sitting anywhere in the country, you don't have to be sitting at one place. You can be everywhere. You will get on-the-point results as and when it happens. And we will be broadcasting the final results here, from here at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And the people of South Africa, that is where the allocations of seats will be done. But we are saying also in that process, in a case where there are ties or there is no outright winner, we'll give you scenarios of the kind of coalitions that might happen, and so on and so on, because our people will be working on this 24 hours a day, and we'll be able, you can wake up anytime, you'll find the information there.
We've got a minute left of this interview, but I like that it's a multimedia approach that the SABC is taking. I hear you throwing words out like website and mobile devices. Many of the people who were born in 1994, the so-called born frees, who are very technologically savvy, are voting for the first time this year. Are those some of the attempts that you've made to make sure that they are informed in their decision?
No, definitely. We made sure that we use the medium that is easily accessible by them, because some of them, they don't watch television, they don't listen to radio. But if we are able to then access them wherever they are and make sure that they are interested in the elections. Even those that are unable to vote now, like my son who has missed the elections, for example, with few months, because he's only turning 18 in July, and unfortunately that becomes a problem. They must continue to be interested and understand, because for us it's also part of educating the young ones about how elections are done, because they keep on asking these questions. What happens when you go into that booth, and so on and so on? But all of that will be seen on our television, and we are saying let us interact. It is not something that we are going to dish out to them. They can interact with us and then talk to us and tell us what they want to get, and we will give it to them.
Voter education, very important. Thank you so much for having joined us. That is the spokesperson of the SABC. Just joining us to talk to us about some of the things that you can experience, a multimedia approach that we're tackling as the public broadcast at the end of the day to make sure that you are an informed electorate or part of the informed electorate. Thank you so much to Kaiser Khanyako joining me now from the SABC. We have a few minutes before I have to say goodbye. We're going to take a look at some of the tweets and some of the comments that you have sent to us from whatever it is that you've seen today, whether it was our crossing to the Eastern Cape or some of our interviews. Let's take a quick look at them. All right, I vote #Sundowns. I don't know if that was a political party or a soccer team. I think it's the latter. But there's a comment saying, I'm really excited to be voting tomorrow. There's no one that can tell me not to vote. This right was fought for. And I know many, many people would agree with that. Khunsi saying, I am ready to vote. Khunsi, something tells me you're very excited. My vote is no longer a secret. I'm voting for the best. I think that is a secret. You haven't given us the name, Khunsi. Ricardo will be our last comment. Ricardo saying, we stay next to the voting station. I'm so excited. I'm going to wake up early. And I think you'll also miss the cues there. Ricardo saying, #BornFree. Ricardo, thank you so much for being one of those who have gone to register. If you are a born free, there was a bit of concern that that particular age group has not gone out in their numbers. But the proof of the pudding will be in the eating thereof. And we'll find out in just a moment. Do go out and vote tomorrow. But it's a wrap for the show this evening. Make sure that you do stay tuned to SABC. We'll be bringing you election news around the clock. It's goodbye and God bless from me.
Brand new on SABC2.
You know the saying, the more things change. Don't worry, I'll do it. Do something, Steve, do something.